You click this video, which means one of two things is true. You either own 12 unlit candles or you own 30 and you're lying to yourself. Somewhere in your home, right now, there is a shelf of wax cylinders that you paid $25 each for and you have never once set any of them on fire. That is not decorating. That is hoarding with a scent profile. Today, science is going to explain exactly why your brain keeps doing this, and by the end, you'll know how to make it stop. And honestly, it's pretty simple. No, it's not. That was a lie. This involves your amygdala, a dead French novelist, a corporation that weaponized pumpkin, and $600 a year you will never see again. Let me show you. But first, a quick disclosure. This entire video is being supervised by Craig. Craig is a 3-wick mahogany teakwood candle purchased in 2019. Craig has never been lit. Craig has seen things. Lesson 1. Your nose is a security breach. Here's the wiring problem. Every other sense you own reports to a relay station called the thalamus before it's allowed to talk to the rest of your brain. Sight waits in the lobby, sound fills out a form, touch takes a number and sits down. Smell does none of that. Smell kicks in the door and walks straight into the amygdala and the hippocampus, the two departments in charge of your emotions and your memories. No appointment, no badge, just confidence. This is why one whiff of sunscreen teleports you to a beach in 2007. It's why the smell of Play-Doh turns a 40-year-old accountant back into a 7-year-old with scissors privileges. And it's why Grandma's house has a smell you could identify in a police lineup but could not describe with words if your life depended on it. Scientists call this the Proust effect, named after a French writer who dipped one cookie in tea and immediately wrote 4,000 pages about his childhood. Absolute menace behavior. But he was on to something real. Psychologist Rachel Herds ran studies where people recalled memories triggered by smells versus the same memories triggered by photos or words, and the smell versions were consistently rated as more emotional and more vivid. Real estate agents figured this out decades ago, by the way, which is why open houses smell like cookies that nobody baked. And candle companies know it best of all, which is why candle names are not scents. They're memories. Sweater weather, grandma's kitchen, first day of fall. You cannot smell a first day of fall. That is not a smell. That is a feeling with a barcode. There is no molecule called sweater. But your hippocampus does not fact check. It just starts the slideshow. So when you pick up a candle called Autumn Hayride and take a sniff, you are not evaluating a product. You are getting emotionally mugged by your own hippocampus in the middle of a shopping mall. The candle company didn't sell you wax. They sold you October of 2004. Okay? But if it's all just memories, why do you keep buying new candles? Great question, terrible answer. Lesson 2. You are not buying a candle, you are buying a fictional character. Psychologists call it affective forecasting. It's your brain's habit of predicting how future you will feel about a decision. And here's the fun part. Your brain is comically bad at this. Genuinely, one of the worst employees you have. And remember, this is the same brain that walks into rooms and forgets why it's there. When you're holding that candle in the store, you are not picturing your actual life. You are picturing a cinematic version of you. That version lives in a spotless apartment. That version wears a chunky knit sweater that costs more than your rent. That version reads a physical paper book while rain taps the window and a candle flickers artistically in the background. That person does not exist. That person is a Hallmark movie protagonist. The real you is going to eat cereal over the sink at 10:45 p.m. while the candle watches in silence. Marketers have a name for that imaginary person. The aspirational self. The upgraded you that products promise. Gym memberships sell it. Fancy planners sell it. Craig's entire species sells it. Every candle on that display is a tiny job application from a better life, and you keep hiring. And research on anticipation backs this up. Studies show that imagining a purchase is often more pleasurable than actually having the thing. Which means, follow me here, the candle finished its job in the store. Before you even paid. The daydream was the product. The wax is just the receipt. So if the fantasy is the real product, somebody is writing that fantasy on purpose. Oh, you are not going to like this next part. Lesson 3. The store is a casino that smells like cinnamon. Nothing about a candle store is an accident. The second you walk in, you get hit with scent marketing, ambient smell pumped through the air the way Vegas pumps in oxygen, B15, and it works. Studies on ambient scent show that shoppers in nice smelling stores linger longer, judge products more positively, and remember the store better. You think you're browsing, you are marinating. Then comes the anchoring. One candle for $25 feels illegal, but three for $24? Suddenly your brain, a certified genius, goes, it would be financially irresponsible not to. Congratulations. You just bought two candles you didn't want in order to get one candle you didn't need, and you walked out feeling like a coupon god. And then, the seasonal drop. Pumpkin scents vanish every January and come back every August like a limited event. It is the McRib of wax. Scarcity flips a panic switch in your brain because to your caveman, firmware, gone for the season and gone forever feel exactly the same. Your ancestors hoarded berries before winter. You hoard marshmallow fireside, same neuron, different shelf. And if you somehow survive all of that, they hit you with the semi-annual sale, where candles drop to single digits and otherwise reasonable adults form lines like it's a boy band reunion. A discount that big does not register as shopping. It registers as winning. Your brain does not log it as spending $38, it logs it as earning $60. That is not math. That is a casino chip with a wick. Candles are a multi-billion-dollar industry, and I promise you, none of those billions come from people lighting them responsibly. There's even a name for what happens next, the Diderot effect. You buy one nice thing, and suddenly everything around it looks shabby, so you buy matching things. One candle becomes a candle tray. The tray demands a wick trimmer. The wick trimmer demands a second candle for symmetry. Meanwhile, Craig watches you carry 3 new candles past his shelf. Craig says nothing. Craig learned long ago that hope is a scam. Fine, but sometimes you buy a candle because you're sad. And honestly, it kind of works. Why? Lesson 4. Retail therapy is real, and that's the problem. In a series of studies, researchers found that shopping genuinely does reduce sadness. Not because stuff makes you happy, because sadness makes you feel out of control, and the act of choosing anything, even choosing between clean linen and cozy cabin, hands the steering wheel back to you. The scientists demonstrated this with controlled experiments. We are demonstrating it with 2 stick figures and a coupon. Same energy, smaller budget. And here's the detail that matters. In this research, people who actually got to make choices reported far less lingering sadness than people who just browsed. Choosing worked, watching didn't. Your brain does not want the candle, it wants the vote. The candle is just the ballot, and the ballot smells like eucalyptus rain. So when you're stressed, and you buy a candle literally named stress relief, understand what is happening. Your brain is performing surgery on itself, using a gift card. The purchase is the therapy. The candle is just a souvenir from the appointment. Which brings us, at last, to the greatest mystery in this entire investigation. You bought them, you love them. So why, in the name of science, won't you light them? Lesson 5, Too Special to Burn. Researchers Keenan and Kvetz studied people who saved their nice things so hard they never used them. The fancy soap shaped like a seashell, the good china, gift cards that quietly expire. They found that people flag special items as too precious for an ordinary Tuesday and then wait for an occasion worthy of them. The occasion never comes. The nice thing dies unused. There is a clinical vibe to all of this, and it deserves a clinical name. I propose Craig syndrome. You already know this pattern. It's the drawer of nice napkins nobody is allowed to touch. It's the fancy tea that has been aging since 2 presidents ago. Research even found that people are more willing to use a nice gift card right away when it expires soon because a deadline finally gives them permission. Your candles have no deadline, so they just sit there, appreciating emotionally while depreciating chemically. Meanwhile, Craig has been on that shelf so long, he has a family now. Vanilla Bean Noel moved in next to him in 2022. They have never spoken. Neither of them has ever known fire. There's also the endowment effect, the finding that the moment you own something, your brain marks up its value. That candle was $25 in the store. On your shelf, it's an asset. And you don't set assets on fire. You're not a person with a candle collection anymore. You're a museum with one very confused curator. But here's the twist the candle industry does not put on the label. Candles expire. The scent starts fading after roughly 1 to 2 years. So the candle you're preserving for a special occasion is quietly losing the one thing you bought it for. You think you're aging fine wine. You are manufacturing scented regret. You are not preserving Craig. You are embalming him. The most important truth: the candle was never the product. The person you would become if you lit it, calm, cozy, in control of your life, that is the product. And here's the scam. Inside the scam, buying the candle feels like becoming that person. So actually lighting it feels unnecessary. You keep purchasing the first 5 seconds of a better life over and over at $25 a pop. Let's do the math out loud, and I apologize in advance. 2 candles a month is $50. That is $600 a year. Over 10 years, that is $6,000 of tiny fires you never started. That's a cruise. That's a used car. Okay, a slightly haunted used car, but it runs. So here is the actual science-approved move, and it's free. Light one tonight. Not the ugly one you don't care about, a good one. Because the ritual you keep paying for, warm light, good smell, one quiet moment where your life feels handled, already lives on your shelf 12 times over. And when you do light it, notice what happens. Nothing catastrophic. The room gets warmer, the night gets softer, and that $25 object finally becomes what it was the whole time. Not an investment, not a museum piece, just a nice evening that was waiting for permission. Because really, a candle is just a campfire you domesticated, a tiny, polite piece of the thing that kept your ancestors alive for 1,000,000 years. Your brain never forgot. That's why it wants all of them. If this video just saved you $600 a year, the tip jar is down below. If it didn't, no worries. Just put $5 in a jar and never touch it again. You clearly love doing that. Craig has now watched this entire video. Craig remains unlit. As is tradition,